2, 3, 4. Like and subscribe. Send me emails. Music time with Nick. Whoa! We're allowed to use power chords? Power chords and distortion? Yeah, that's what this lesson is going to be about, okay? We're going to be talking about how to deal with playing these things called power chords. What are they? What makes them so powerful? Let's jump right into it. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be thinking about, now I assume you've done rock lesson 1 in our video series here, okay? I'm going to use the same chords from my example where we're just kind of clearly strumming through them. Remember this? What I want to do now is turn it into this, okay? Wow, that's going to be good. All right? Okay, now, how did I get that distortion sound? I went from such a nice clean sound to a distortion. This is something that I want percolating in the back of your head. All I did was change my volume. I turned myself up. That's what happened. Okay? We'll probably end up doing a video about how I do that in the future, but I want that going on in the back of your mind. Okay, wow, Nick was able to go from very clean to very distorted. I want you to do the same in the long run, okay? But right now, let's just learn how to play a power chord, okay? One thing at a time. So our first chord was E, okay? Now, in order to play an E5, like my diagram say, E5 means power chord, E power chord. I'm actually going to change everything about the way that I play, okay? The way that I play my E. I'm going to shift to this position, okay? Now, why? Well, I just find it easier to block, which is, by the way, what that X means there. You see that X? X means I'm going to mute or block that string. I find it easier for my middle finger to block it for whatever reason, okay? You can use whichever finger you like as long as you're consistent, okay? So I'm using my ring finger to block that note. Now that note that is being blocked out is something called the third, okay? If you remember from our first episode or first lesson, it was a G sharp, okay? E, F sharp, G sharp, the third, okay? And so that when I get rid of that note, it turns it into something called a power chord or fifth, E fifth, okay? And so that's going to be our first example. Now G, I want to do this G now. I'm using, again, the edge of my middle finger to block out the A string, what used to be a B note, again a third. I'm getting rid of it, and I'm just going to use it to create that a big G power chord. Now A, I'm going to change my fingering again. I want it to kind of mirror what I was doing with my E chord. I'm going to use those two fingers again because I'm probably going to want to mute some things, in the future. Same idea, okay? So, nice, possibly my favorite chord. And C, okay? Now, this is maybe where if you're a guitar player who's been around the block a few times and has ended up on this video, maybe you've never seen this C. What I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to get rid of the third, the note E here, and I'm going to use my ring finger to block it. Okay? That's a C power chord. A lot of people would play the C power chord here. To me, it sounds a little more dull. If I can play this C power chord, I kind of like that one. It also helps me stay in one position, right? We're trying to rock. We're trying to do the duck walk, right? I don't want to change positions too many times, okay? I don't want to be just going, if I don't have to, okay? Changing positions is a big deal on the guitar, okay? So those are how we're going to play each of these chords, okay? We want to make these a reaction just like the way we made our first chords, the first major chords, a reaction. I don't want you to think about these things, okay? Different songs call for different things. Okay, so here, let's scroll down here. Now look, this chord progression, this is the first chord progression we looked at. It just says E, G, A, C, okay? Now, there's no specific fingering there. I could play these in any different position I want. But the thing is that this song that I'm going to do now, I want it to sound like crazy rockin', okay? So I'm going to turn up my distortion, or sorry, rather turn up my volume potentiometer here. And so that's step one, okay? And then I'm also going to say to myself, well, look, I'm not going to play this whole big chord here. I just want to make it sound like a power chord, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play these fifths or power chords that we were talking about, okay? Now, here's another aspect of this that I want you to think about. I want there to be a kind of a consistency between these chords, okay? Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but some of these power chords were a little bigger than us, like a G power chord compared to an A. A, there's only 3 notes in that A. So what I want you to try to do is to just aim for 3 strings with your right hand. That's tough, okay? Because we're rocking, we're going mental here, hopefully, right? And so I want you to try to aim to just have 3 strings ringing out. Now I know we just went through a whole bunch of chord examples where I had more than 3, right? Like my G and my E have 5 strings ringing out. Those are safeties, okay? In case I do hit those by accident, it's still gonna sound like what I'm trying to do. Okay, so now how does it sound if I just aim for those 3 strings? Let's see what happens. So volume up, gain, activate. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That sounded consistent. Now I'm going to play all 6 strings and see how it sounds, okay? Let's see if we can notice the difference. Oh, I got so thrown off by how different that A sounded. I made a weird mistake on that C. But did you hear how it changed? All of a sudden, my A shrank. Okay? So that's why I was trying to aim for just those 3 strings. Okay? It's tricky. It's going to take you some work, but it's so worth it, people. We're really getting into the fun of it. Okay, now that also must be said that I don't need to play these with distortion. They still sound kind of good, right? Here, I'll play. I'm going to do the 3-string thing again with no distortion this time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. A fifth naturally sounds distorted. It naturally sounds kind of grungy or whatever it is. Okay, whatever it is that fifth is doing, a perfect fifth. That's kind of what it is. But anyway, we'll get into music theory later, maybe. But what's going on there is that it just naturally sounds like that. If you play this on an acoustic guitar, it's going to sound powerful. You don't need distortion. You do not need as much distortion as you think. Okay, but sometimes we do need distortion. Like, for instance, when I was doing this at the top. Right, to get that kind of... I'm going to need distortion, so I have to learn how to use it, okay? And I have to learn how to manage it. I always used to describe it, and I'm describing it to you now, as like a fire hydrant that's like exploding with water. And I'm trying to be, the hose that is directing that energy, all that water. I want to direct it so that when I play that A power chord, it's just pure concentrated A power chord going on there, okay? And so there's a lot going on here. A lot of string muting is in effect if I want to play these through my example there, okay? So remember, if you did rock lesson 1, we were doing some string muting there, and the same thing is true in this power chord example, but to a much more important extent, I would say. If I'm trying to create that really concentrated power chord sound, I really want to try to aim at just having 3 strings ringing. So we're muting those strings, people. Okay, anyways, so that was our power chord lesson. Over and out. Have a good... by the way, hey, looking to do lessons? I'm here. Let's do a remote lesson. If you're in Toronto, let's meet up. We could do a lesson, okay? I would love to talk more about this in depth because there are a lot of things to discuss. So, write me an email, like and subscribe, do all that stuff. Maybe I missed something in this. Hey, leave me a comment. Write me an email. Let me know if I missed something you think is important. Take it easy, everybody.